Welcome to another episode of Junior Achievement of South Florida's Recipe for Success. Just as there are no two recipes that contain the exact same ingredients or measurements, there are no two success stories exactly the same. Recipe for Success features entrepreneurs, visionary leaders, and innovators of all ages who will share the ingredients that make them successful. Here's your host, Lori Salarulo, President and CEO of Junior Achievement of South Florida.
Welcome to this week's Recipe for Success. We're here in the JA World Heisinger Center kitchen at the Lillian S. Wells Pavilion. Thanks for joining us today. This is where we get to feature entrepreneurs and business leaders and community leaders and hear about the ingredients to their success. What made them successful? And so there's so much that you can learn and so much we can share by doing this. Today's guest is sweet. That's all I have to say. He is a natural entrepreneur from early on. He is the co-founder and CEO of The Batch, the cookie company. And if you can see our set here, you can see that there are some tasty treats. I'm going to try to stay focused on our interview and not on the cookies. But you know, Adam is unconventional, and I love that you are so close in age to our students.
Yes.
But welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
It's an honor to be here.
We love having you. And I love, like I said, so you've been involved now for a little bit with Junior Achievement. Yeah. You've been mentoring some of the kids, talking with the kids. And I know that they can relate to you, right, for lots of reasons. Yes. One, you're closer to their age.
And I even look younger than I am. So,
right.
Yeah.
And then also, you have a great product.
Yeah, it's a fun product.
That they love, that we all love. Yes. So you have a great story, and we talk about, one of the things I loved in your bio was unconventional is one way to describe Adam's career path. And I think that's one of the things that we try to stress here.
Yes.
There is no one way
Not at all.
to get to success, right? And whatever that means for you. Talk a little bit about what that means. Yeah. Why was it unconventional?
Well, and also that's what I love about your show is everybody's recipe for success is different, right? So that's what the show shows people. My path was unconventional in the sense that I never had a job for more than 1 year. I've been fired from every job I've ever had except for one.
Wow.
And those are two things that people oftentimes would look at as like, okay, what's wrong with this guy? He's not committed. He's not, he can't focus. He can't stick with something. And what I now have learned throughout that journey is what that gave me was an opportunity to do a lot of different things. And then also build the confidence in myself that I'm good at being in situations where there is no path on how to do things, and you figure it out.
And you forge your own path.
Right. And that's taken me from Florida to Wisconsin, back to San Francisco, back to Florida, and that's where I'm headed now. Yeah.
So did you, when you were in high school, did you know what you wanted to do?
Absolutely not. No.
Did you end up going to college?
I did. I went to college. I graduated with a 2.2 GPA. Another thing that I'm very vocal about because school's not for everybody.
It's what we teach here.
Absolutely. And that is one of the things that's resonated with me in your message to the kids is that going to a four-year university is not for everybody.
Right.
I was fortunate that I had the financial support from my parents and grandparents, so I didn't have to graduate with debt, which is a whole burden in itself. But yeah, I studied business at school, although I hate saying that because I didn't really learn anything in school. I didn't go to class. To be completely honest with you, I cheated through most of my tests.
Now that's real honesty.
Yeah, I'm very honest
guy, okay?
and transparent. That's just kind of how I am. Sometimes it's good, sometimes.
I think that's part of your recipe, though, is your authenticity.
Absolutely.
For sure.
You know what you get with me.
Yes, I love that.
But yeah, so I went to University of Colorado Boulder, studied business, took 5 years, had some fun, and then left.
So then you went through some different reiterations, right, of life and career, and like you said, tried different jobs for short periods of time. Obviously, you were fired from them, or let go, whatever, and it didn't work out. But obviously, it would seem to me that was probably in some part due to the fact that you hadn't found your passion yet.
Yeah,
would you say that's part of it?
Absolutely. Now, after being fired 4 times, I have a perspective on firing than a different perspective than most people do.
On how to fire.
On how to fire and what being fired means. I think that there's this general thought that like being fired is just this terrible thing, and like you should be ashamed and you're a failure. And I've found a way to relate being fired or firing similar to a relationship between a man and a woman, two men, two women, whatever, you know,
right.
That type of relationship in which it's just not working out anymore. For whatever reason, the partnership just doesn't work out. And someone in that partnership has to stand up and say, you know what, it's better that we move on from each other.
And that takes courage.
That takes courage, right? And that's also what people do when they quit too. They're saying the same thing, right? Like, this just isn't working out for me anymore. It'd probably be better for the company and for myself if we go different ways. That's how I view being fired.
Right. And you know, it's interesting that you say that, because I just recently was reading Netflix's culture. And it's pretty long. It's probably 3 or 4 pages. It's on their website. And they talk about that not everyone is the right person for the team.
Yeah.
You might be great, and you might have great skill set,
Absolutely.
but they're just not the skill set, and your way of working or your mindset
Absolutely.
and your skills are not the right match for the company.
Yes.
They give an employee a 4-month severance package and say, thank you for being here.
Yeah, for
we
giving it a
appreciate
shot.
you,
Yeah.
but we don't think this is the right match.
Yes.
Here's 4 months to help you go out there
Yes.
and find a better match for
Yes.
yourself. I think that's huge.
It is. That is. I mean, and Netflix has the, you know, they have the, I guess the
right,
funds to
finances,
be able to
right.
do that. Right. Not every company can do that. But I think that is a great example of exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And they recognize that not everyone is a good fit. And then also some people, because I've been in startups in San Francisco, right? That's like startup culture,
Yeah.
startup world. So I've seen what it's like to be the first sales hire at a company with 10 people, and then I've seen what it's been like to be at a company with 75 growing to 200 people. And what you see is that some people they're a fit at a certain stage of a company, right? Because early on, if you're not great at following rules, but you're great at just figuring things out and forging your own path, like you'd be a good fit for a startup. But then as a startup grows up and develops structure and rules and a certain way of doing things, you might not be a good fit anymore.
Right.
Right? And
So true. We have a leadership team here, and then a senior leadership team, and we're doing a book right now by Mark Miller called Great Leaders Grow. But one of the things we talked about, which was not in the book, but we talked about, so when I came to JA 5 years ago, we were really struggling financially. So the skill set, the people, the processes that we put in place and we had to apply to get from here to here are very different than the people and the processes and the strategies and the resources that we're going to need to get from here to here.
Absolutely.
And to your point.
Yes.
I mean, so true.
Yes.
But sometimes people see that as a bad thing,
Yeah.
right? Because they're like, well, what do you mean? I was here for the first 5 years and we got to that. What do you mean I'm not the right person for that?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it takes something different
Yes.
to get to that next
Absolutely.
level.
Yes.
And so you've seen that
Yes.
and you get that. And in running your own company, you're able to put that into play.
Yeah, and I mean, to be completely honest with you, we're experiencing that now. I mean, we had 6 employees. I've had to let 3 employees go over the last week because what got us from the beginning to month, and we're only 5 months old, right? We're still,
Is that all?
yeah, that's it.
I thought it was longer.
No, just five
You're doing
months.
amazing.
Yeah, I pinch myself every day, and some of it is I don't have a perspective on like what amazing is because this is my first business. I've never been in food before, so I don't really like. Everyone says you're doing amazing, but I don't really. I guess
You don't have anything to measure it against.
exactly.
Right.
But what took us to get from where to start to month 5, and then where I see us going over this next 6 months to a year, it's going to take different people.
You said you have never been in the food business before, and so we're going to stop there for a second, and we're going to let that bake.
Oh, I like that. I
lie.
like that.
And we'll be right back, and we're going to talk a little bit about what that means, right, to come out of your comfort zone and to take a risk into something that you've never done before. So we'll be right back.
Thanks to you, I learned how to balance my checkbook. I learned about different careers and what it takes to get a job of my own.
I learned that it's important to save. I learned how to budget money properly. I learned how to work in a business as a team.
I learned that kids are expensive.
you, JA volunteers.
JA volunteers rock.
Thank you for all you do. Thank you, JA volunteers. Hashtag JA volunteers rock.
Volunteers are the heart of junior achievement.
Thank you, Junior Achievement volunteers.
Welcome back. We're here with Adam August with Batch Cookies, and we're talking all about the ingredients that is making his company successful and what's made him a success all these years. And we were just about to get into, you mentioned that you had never been in the food business before. And it sounds like some of your other jobs, you had never done any of those before.
Yep.
So some people would never do that, right? They don't want to step out of the comfort zone, and they're afraid they might fail. They're afraid to take that risk. Talk a little about that and how that's contributed to your success.
Yeah, well, I think we all have a risk profile, right? How we view risk, how much risk we're willing to take. And everybody's situation is different, right? So what works for somebody doesn't work for another person, right? I'm single, that makes me not married. I don't have kids, right? So my ability to take risk is higher than somebody that is married and has kids, right? I grew up very fortunate that I had parents that were financially supportive, but also emotionally supportive. And that, I think, encouraged me that I could take risks, knowing that if I happened to fall on my face, my parents were there to help me.
You had that support system, safety net.
A safety net,
right,
if you will.
Which many of our kids today
do not have. Do not have. Exactly.
They're not fortunate enough to have that. And so we need to still be able to teach them that sometimes you just have to take that risk.
Yes.
And I always say to my daughter who's 25, let's talk about what's the worst thing that could happen.
And that's a great question to ask yourself. Absolutely.
Because if the worst thing that could happen is you lose $50,000,
yes,
or your company shuts down, or you lose a client,
yes,
or whatever that might
yes,
be, can you still survive?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so it sounds like you still did that,
yes,
but you knew that you had that safety net behind you.
Yeah, I knew I had that safety net. That I'd say that came more into play earlier on in my career. This was very important to me that I didn't really rely on that and use that. I also just, for whatever reason, just had this belief in myself that I would be able to figure this out because I had done that over the last 10 years at different places in my career.
I love that.
And that ability, or that ability to take risks, that comes from a self-belief, right? And that takes time to build. Yeah. Some people are just naturally super confident and maybe they're able to take those risks earlier on. Some people have to go through some things in life before that builds. And that's another thing, there's no like path or timeline for people.
Everybody's is different.
Everybody is different.
And we talked about that at the beginning.
Absolutely.
Everybody's career path.
Yes.
If anybody would have told me I would end up the CEO of a nonprofit, I would have said they were crazy.
No way. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what a nonprofit was.
And why is that?
Just because, like I said, when I grew up, I mean, I had done some volunteer work, but I never really understood what a nonprofit was. And so I don't think I understood how much. We're a business, just like you are.
Yes.
The difference is we can't take the profits.
Yes,
out.
yes.
You can.
Yes.
That's the only difference. And our mission, right, is your product.
Yes.
And it's a great mission.
Yes.
But it's the same idea.
It is.
We still have to make payroll.
Yes.
We still have to maintain the building.
Yes.
All those things.
Yeah.
Right?
All the challenges that a for-profit business. Yes.
Right. So I want to talk a little bit about how you fell into that.
Yeah.
Right. How did this happen? Tell me, did you meet someone? Are you the baker? Were
No,
there recipes?
no, definitely not. No, definitely do not. I don't bake. Still, my baking skills are still very minimal.
So you're the business side of it.
Business side of this, yeah. So it all started maybe 3 years ago. I was living here with my current business partner, Nick, and we would always joke about opening up a cookie shop. We always baked, like the break and bakes that you get at the grocery store. 50% of the time they were burnt, the other 50, like they would come out okay. But we joked about, one day we're gonna open up a cookie shop. It really didn't mean anything. And that was just always something that I joked about. And I don't know why, it just was. Like even to the point where I had on my Bumble profile that when I retire, I want to open up a cookie shop.
Oh, that is so funny.
So then I was let go from Apptology, which was the software company in San Francisco, in November 1st, 2018. And I had breakfast with the CEO, Bill, who who even though let me go, was still a mentor of mine. We still have a great relationship to this day. He said something that resonated with me about, Adam, if you have an idea of what you want to do, go out there and do it. Go for it. And I think it was just one of those things that, it was just a culmination of a lot of things. Like that was the final push, I guess. And it was 7 days later, I sat down with my mom and I told her I was going to open up a cookie shop. You can imagine what her reaction was. I don't know if she knew what to think. My dad wasn't as supportive of it. I think he thought it was a joke, which I don't blame him.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. And then 3 days after that, I texted Nick and said, "I'm doing this. Are you in?" And he said right away, "Yeah, I'm in."
Really?
And
but he didn't bake either.
He didn't bake either. To me, I never felt that the cookie part was the hard part.
Right.
Like
the business part.
It was making it happen.
Right.
Like that's the hardest part. Everything else, if I could get to opening up a store, the cookie part would get figured out along the way.
Right.
I just believe that. I don't know. I can't really explain why. But then after I texted Nick, it was almost that next day. I was still living in San Francisco. He was out here, and I set up a few meetings for him to go look at spaces. That
So
was
you
our
went
first,
right into
it.
No business plan, no investors.
And don't get me going on a business plan. That's a whole.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm not a big business plan person either.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think he needs to have something. But I don't know that you need this big, long feasibility study.
No.
I know you're supposed to do all that.
Yes.
I shouldn't say that because they're good things to
Well,
do.
it depends on what your situation is, right? If you need to go out and raise capital, then yeah, you need a business plan because you're going to have to show investors how they're going to make their money back. Yeah, if you don't, or if you're not doing that, and we weren't, I wasn't going out and raising money, then it's less important. It's also something that I think can be developed along the journey. It shouldn't be the first step, because what I see is people get so stuck on the business plan that then they lose interest, or they get down on themselves, and then they never even move forward with doing the
Sometimes you just
business.
have to do it.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and that was
Just do it.
Yeah.
As Nike said.
Yeah, just do it, exactly. Just jump in.
So Nick went to look at properties.
Yep.
Did you have the money for a down payment?
So-
for first class security? Did you? What?
Well, I knew that it would take some time, right? That like this wasn't a like you go look at a space and then you put your money down right away. But I had very little idea of like how much we needed. So you go to Google, right? Like University of Google. I do well in. I don't do well in school, but Google, yeah, I'm a straight A student. So you start reading.
You better be today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's such an amazing tool, right? Like you can learn anything. And I did that, right? I started researching about other cookie shops, right? And you pretty much name a cookie shop, I know about it. And what I found was Insomnia Cookies, who scaled to 150 locations over the course of 15 years, sold for $500 million. I read about Night Owl in Miami and how well Andrew has done in the first 2 years. So I learned that this is a viable business. It can scale, right? Because again, I'm coming at this from a business standpoint. I'm not coming at this like I want to be a baker when I grow up.
Right.
Like I want to create a business that can scale and that I can eventually sell. That's my goal. And so I started reading about all these other businesses, and so that like checked that box. And then you start realizing, okay, well, how much do I need to, how much money do we need? And I knew going into this I was going to be undercapitalized. And it basically, I put in $55,000. My parents lent the business $25,000. Nick put in $20,000, which that was $100,000. And then we had the landlord contribute tenant improvement dollars, which was something that we had to negotiate, which I had never negotiated a lease before, but I had an incredible
So you
broker.
learned on the job.
Everything I learned, everything. No, I know I can't even hang a picture frame. I was on the site every day during construction, working with the subs, just sitting there watching and learning, and being able just to understand the lingo, because I knew that this was going to be one of 20. Right. So I needed to understand how this worked exactly.
Right.
And fortunately for me, I mean, so much of this is tied to other people, right? Me meeting this guy Dylan, who has ended up being a consultant that I hired to help me get CRA funding, that helped me walk me through permitting. I mean, I would go to the permitting office with him every day and watch him, how he interacts, who does he talk to, how do we fold the plans up together, like all these small things that you don't know. Right. I wanted to hire somebody to help me learn that process so that then I could do it on my own.
So finding people to teach you.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And to help you along the way.
Yes.
Was critical
Yes.
in your success.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even, you know, some people will say, well, I don't want to spend the $5,000 that I paid Dylan to consult. But for me, I looked at it like an investment in myself. Right? Like, I'm paying him $5,000. He's going to help me through this process, but now I'm going to know how to do it.
And the return is tenfold, right?
Tenfold. We got through permitting and construction in 4 months.
Wow.
Which is unheard of in Florida. I mean, really in building anywhere, but in Florida.
So now, you and Nick both work full-time in the company?
No, so Nick actually has another business, a very, very well-run, profitable gym in Davie called Perform. That's his baby.
Right.
He and his business
So he's
partner.
more of an investor?
Yes, he's more of an investor. Nick handles all of our social media, which I knew going into this, I'm not great at Instagram. I'm not great at marketing and branding, right? And these are all three very important things that you need for a cookie company.
Or any company.
Or any company.
We all have to tell our story.
Absolutely.
And brand our product.
Absolutely. It's some more so than others, right? If I owned an insurance company, my presence on Instagram is less important than owning a cookie company.
Right.
So knowing that these are all three things that Nick is amazing at, right? So being able to identify what you're good at and what you're not good at is very important. And then surrounding yourself with people that are good at those things that you're not, and then empowering them to do what they're good at, trusting them to do what they're good at.
Yep.
So Nick works with this woman, Emily, who's our branding consultant, who's also incredible. And they basically run that whole side of the business. I don't really...
You don't even really get involved?
Yeah, I mean, they'll ask for my thoughts on certain things, and I'll provide that. But if they make a decision that they think this is the right way, and I'm saying go this way, then I trust them to go that way, because I know that's what I brought them on the team to do.
That's awesome. Well, listen, we're going to take a little cookie break.
Let's do it.
How about that?
I love that.
We're going to take a quick cookie break, and maybe, oh my
Which
gosh,
cookie?
I have to hold these up for a second.
Yeah, let's get them up there.
We're going on a break, because I'm going to take a little bite of one of these, and we will be right back.
How many people in here have ever made a bad career decision? How many people have ever made a bad money decision? See, I think it goes underreported what junior achievement prevents, right? Junior achievement and the learning that the kids do actually prevents bad money decisions, prevents bad career decisions. And if you've never visited the campus, you definitely should, because it's amazing and the impact on the lives is incredible. Your participation helps those kids make good decisions, and that's what we're here for.
Welcome back. I don't know, I'm having a tough time deciding on all these cookies, so I might need your help before we close out the show. But so I want to know, I mean, first of all, they look amazing.
They are.
I know they taste amazing because
yes.
I've already tasted them, but I'm going to try a different one today. Who bakes these amazing cookies for you? Because you said you're not the baker.
No.
You're not the marketing guy, right? You're the business guy. You're the over the bigger picture, I think.
Yes.
Who's the baker?
Yeah, so...
And how did you find him?
This was probably around February of 2019. Nick and I were probably $10,000, $15,000 into this. And we're like, okay, maybe it's time we start figuring out who's going to bake our cookies, because this is coming up, We got
the store, but now we need the cookies.
Yeah. And so I went to, again, I used some skills that I had learned in the past through sales development about just prospect, building out lists, identifying people of who you want to contact, writing quick messages that will grab people's attention. And that's what I did. I went on LinkedIn, found probably 15 different bakers in Fort Lauderdale, Miami that fit a profile that I made up in my head, and wrote them all messages. And one of them happened to be Chef Max Santiago, most notably known for being the founding pastry chef of Salty Donut.
Wow.
Which I didn't know,
at the time.
in San Francisco. I don't know what Salty Donut is, but here that's a big deal. So I wrote him a message, and he, to his credit, he was the only person that replied.
Wow.
And said he was interested in meeting. And it just said, hey, I'm opening up a cookie shop. I'm looking for a partner that's going to bake the cookies. Would you be interested? And he said yes. And we met at Night Owl in Miami and had a great meeting. And it was basically the second time we met. I pitched him on Like, do you want to do this with us?
So he's a partner and the baker.
He's a partner.
The creator.
He's the creator of all the recipes. We do have a staff that executes the recipes day to day.
Right.
But his gift is creating phenomenal recipes, and then also it's that, but it's also his ability that when he creates a recipe and there's something off about it, his ability to then change it, and it's like the second time he does it, to be perfect. That's what's so remarkable about Max.
Where is the store? I want to make sure that our
we're located downtown Fort Lauderdale, 917 Northeast 5th Avenue, right behind that giant Sears Plaza.
Yep.
That one day hopefully will get developed soon.
Which nobody would know it's back there, right? So how are you getting the word out, right? So because I mentioned before the break, telling our story and sharing the news and the brand of our companies is so important today, especially on social media and on the internet. So how are you getting the word out there?
Yeah, so because of Max and his reputation, we were able to skip a lot of steps that similar companies have to go through. And what I'm talking about is building that trust amongst the consumer that the product is really good. Right. We had that day one because people know who Chef Max is. Right, so our first day, which we did a pop-up, it was August 31st, we had a line around the block that people waited 2.5 hours to get cookies.
Wow. Where was this pop-up?
It was at the store.
At the store?
Yeah, it was at the store.
Okay. And you just put it out there on social media or whatever?
Yep, exactly. A few posts, and from that, it's just kind of snowballed over the last 6 months to social media, right? Instagram is a huge thing for us. Yelp has turned into a great, it's a love-hate relationship with Yelp.
You get one bad thing.
Yeah. Google reviews is another one, but then also word of mouth.
Right.
I think we do such a great job, the team does such a great job of creating a experience when you come in, and it starts with us actually going through each one of the cookies, explaining to them, not you just walking in and seeing all the the 9 cookies
and which one do you want?
And you feel overwhelmed, but it's the person taking the time to explain them all to you. And then I really focus on building relationships with our customers so they feel guests. I like to use the word guests. You don't use the word customers.
I like that.
But and they feel like they're part of something, right? And they share with their friends and their family and their coworkers, and it's growing. And
they're also part of helping someone, right, become, like, everybody wants to help.
Yes,
I think.
I do. I agree with that.
So when they hear the story of these young people starting out a company, they want to help you be successful, right? Especially if the product's great. It is.
It has a lot to do with it too. It's a fun product. People love cookies.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also notice, right, because you're getting involved with JA, getting involved in the community, like, was that something you intended to do, or did you just kind of fall into it and then realize how important it was?
So I really appreciate that question, Lori. The truth of the matter is we decided on a partnership with Junior Achievement before I actually even signed a lease on the space. That's how important this aspect of this was to me.
Well, we are so happy.
Yeah. Likewise. I mean, it's definitely mutual.
Can we open a cookie shop in JA?
That would definitely be.
I think that would be a great idea.
It would be.
And have students run the business.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk offline.
We'll get there. We'll get there for sure. But no, it was definitely something that was in the forefront of my mind. One of the ingredients that I believe for a business to have long-term success is to have a greater purpose than their product or service. Yeah. Right? To have real meaning to what you're doing. For me personally, the purpose is to help to share my story and help other people that want to go down this similar path, and through my story motivate them, inspire them, educate them to go ahead and take that leap of faith.
And so many of our young people want to go down the
Absolutely.
same path that you did out. Yeah. I know my daughter, just said to me, Mom, she was teaching in preschool, and she said, I love the kids and I love this, but I don't know if this is what I want to do in my life. I really want to start a business. And I have some ideas, and so I'm like, let's do it.
Yes.
I'll help you.
Yes,
Come on, let's
absolutely.
do it. Right?
Yes.
And so for her to hear a story like yours would be amazing, right? So I could see why our students love hearing the story.
Yes.
I don't want to end this show without talking about on your website,
Yeah.
You shared that you have the recipe to your success. Share a couple of those ingredients maybe
Yeah, I'll
that
have
we didn't
to-
talk about.
yeah,
And I do want people, we will put the website on the edited version so that they can go and check out your recipe for
Yeah.
success. But what are a couple of things that maybe we didn't talk about yet?
Yeah, I think, so the number one that I had on our recipe was 2,000 grams of self-belief. I think that really is the...
is that the main ingredient?
I think for me in this business where I am in my life, yes. Right? That might change as the business grows up and as I mature as an entrepreneur, but to get it going, that was absolutely the fundamental recipe for success.
And that might be expanded as you keep going, right? Like now you've built your belief in yourself.
Yes.
Anytime you are starting something new or taking a risk, right, or stepping out of that box,
Yes.
That belief in yourself
Absolutely.
still has to be, it's front and center,
Absolutely.
right? And then it's also about believing in your company.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And what you're doing,
Yes.
the mission.
Absolutely.
So great. So that is your main ingredient. We're
Yes.
going to have that. Awesome. What
And
else?
I mean, a lot of it has been the people that
We talked about that.
that I've been fortunate to connect with and I guess convinced to be a part of this journey, whether it's Max or Nick or Jason, who's our incredible architect and general contractor, Dylan, who I mentioned, Lauren McGee, who's our broker, who helped us find this. I mean, there's just our current team, right? There's just so many people that go into this, right? It's definitely not all me.
Oh, listen, I love, I don't know if you watched the memorial for Kobe Bryant.
Yes.
Or saw any of the highlights.
Yes.
And Shaq got on and told a funny story about
Yes.
how he told Kobe, you know, Kobe, that you're hogging the ball. There's no I in team. And
Yes.
he goes, yeah, but there's an M-E, you
Yeah.
know. And so they laughed. And so Shaq went back in there and said, okay, well, you're just gonna have to fight to get the ball, kind of
Yes.
thing, right? Because,
Yes.
But there is no I in team, and it never, ever, ever is one person who gets anything done.
Yes.
Right. So I love that you recognize that. So, any other main
let
ones that
me
you want to
look
make
on
sure
here.
we get out there? Because I think we've probably hit on most of these, and just talking about you getting this company going.
Yeah, I think the last one that I would want to highlight is a positive attitude. And understanding that things aren't going to always go the way you want them to go. And
but how you deal with that.
But how you deal with it, and that's what you have control of.
Right.
And that's been a big part of this.
Yeah,
It
we
is.
have a great attitude.
Thank
I
you.
love it.
Thank you,
I
Lori.
love it. And I
appreciate
love
it.
that you
Thank
selected JA. We really do.
Yes.
You're part of our family. I mean, who wouldn't want somebody in their family to make these kind of
Cookies,
right?
exactly. You know, if you're inviting me,
Well,
I'm
we
always
love
bringing
you
cookies.
anyway,
Thank
even
you.
without the cookies.
Thank
but,
you, Lori.
So we're going to read back your recipe for
Okay,
success.
let's do it.
And then everybody, please go and check out his recipe on the site. Confidence and belief in yourself. It was the first thing you mentioned, and then when I asked you your main ingredient, you went right back to it.
yeah.
So obviously that's at your core. Forging your path, right? And maybe the path isn't straight, but
It's
just
definitely not straight,
making sure
yeah.
that you're always following your heart
Yes.
to follow the path. Honesty and authenticity, love it. I am a firm believer in being authentic because people are going to see through eventually.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so great partnerships, finding that great fit, right? And what fits today may not fit tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. And that's something we're talking about here as well. Ability to take risks, right? Whatever that comfort level is
Yeah.
for you. And it's different for everyone. Just do it. You didn't know a thing and
Yes.
you just jumped in and
Yes.
you just learned it. By the way, that's what happened to me in nonprofit.
Yeah.
What did I know about running a nonprofit? I knew about business.
Yes.
But I didn't know the ins and outs of a nonprofit. And so I just jumped in, learned, and
But you knew
picked
that
it
you
up.
could figure it out.
Right.
Yes.
Because you had those basic skill
Yes,
sets,
yes,
right?
yes.
Of curiosity. You definitely look like you have curiosity
Yes.
in there. Building relationships, we should talk about. Watch and learn, right? So important. You did a lot of that to get to where you are. Finding the right people to help you, and then identifying what you're good at and finding the people to surround
Yes.
you who do what you don't do well.
Yes,
right?
I think that's very important.
And then that brings the whole team together.
Mm-hmm.
Greater purpose, so important. You know, getting involved in the community.
Yes.
Because it's bigger than just the company. And I do believe that when companies get involved in the community for the right reasons,
For the right
which you
reasons,
have,
yeah.
it comes back tenfold.
Yes.
I truly believe it. Creating an experience, I love that because we try to do that for every student,
Yes.
every volunteer.
You guys do an amazing job
every
at that.
parent,
Yes.
every business person. We want them to remember this experience,
Yes.
right? And so important. And then I think I put one up here. Did I get them all? I think I
The
did.
positive attitude.
Positive
Yeah.
attitude. That was the last one we added. And I think you're so right because things are going to go wrong.
Yeah.
Things are not going to go according to plan. But if you have a positive attitude, I really, truly agree that you can get through anything. So thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
I'm
This
gonna
is
have a
awesome.
cookie now.
Yeah, absolutely. Dig in.
But I do want to make sure, please check out Adam's website. Go to Batch. If you have not been there, if you have not tasted these cookies, please go and tell all your friends about it. And thank you for watching. We hope to see you next week for next week's episode of Recipe for Success. Let's get cooking.